Welcome to the first 40, a very special first 40. We have legendary Strong Island's own Buddy McGirt, a boxing legend. We're going to chop it up with him. We're going to talk about his boxing career, his training career now that I'm following him on Instagram. He's doing a great job with some of the younger fighters. I want to get from him a little later fighters that we need to watch out for that he's training, or other fighters that he sees outside his camp. And then we're going to chop it up about the Spence Pacquiao fight. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm great, man. I can't complain.
Now, one of the things I'm going to start off with this is that I see you on Instagram. We're Instagram buddies. I see you on Instagram running and training. Are you trying to get some of that exhibition money fighting Roy Jones or Mike Tyson or anybody?
I'm trying to get some of this exhibition fat off me. That's what I'm trying to do. I put on so much weight. A couple of years ago, I got pretty sick. I had congestive heart failure.
Oh, wow.
And I had to have a pacemaker put in, and I blew up to 260 pounds, man.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
So I had to make a lot of changes. I haven't had a cigar in like 3 years. You know what I mean? And then I started riding bike, and then that got boring. And then I said, I got to run, because that running to me is like my favorite thing. I don't mind. I can run anytime. And it was tough getting back, because, carrying 260 pounds. I mean, but hey, I got it done, thank God. I just put it in my mind that I got to go. And the times I wanted to stop, I was like, no, we can't stop, buddy. So now I'm getting better at it. I run slow. Don't get me wrong now. I run slow. I mean, one day a lady said, you walk real fast. I said, miss, I'm running.
Yeah, you inspire me. And also your inspirational quotes that I follow. And then you take some of the fighters. But I want to go into some of your records. You were the light welterweight champion, IBF, the WBC welterweight champion, had 80 fights, won 73 of them, 48 by knockout. You describe yourself as, being small, but you had that knockout punch. You got to have a knockout punch being from Strong Island. 6 losses and 1 draw. What was one of your most memorable fights?
My most memorable fight to me was when I won my first world title from Frankie Warren. Yeah, that's a fight. I mean, every fight you go in the zone. I mean, you just have to go in the zone. But this is a fight that was scheduled for 15 rounds.
Okay.
And I was fighting him in his hometown. He was the first guy to ever beat me. And no one thought that I would go win the championship from him, in his hometown. And that was the only way I could get the fight, was I had to go back to Corpus Christi, Texas. So to me, everyone says Simon Brown, but to me, that was it, because I learned about myself more in that fight than ever, because I had to mentally go somewhere that it's hard to explain.
Okay.
I had to go there because he was putting so much pressure on me, so much heat on me, that I had to go there. And it took me like 3 or 4 days to come down.
Wow.
I mean, I was like in the zone. Like, I'd be at functions and everybody like, buddy, you was in the zone. I was like, because the guy, in all honesty, was in my ass, man. I'm like, 15 rounds of this, I got to go in that different zone. I didn't look at the round card girls. I never asked what round it was. I just went ahead and did my job.
That would be one of the issues with me. If I was ever in the fight game, I'd be peeking at the ring card girls, but you were in that zone. You didn't even look at them. I was watching that fight on YouTube. I was also watching a lot of other fights on YouTube and interviews. I'm gonna go to Ice Water because he's our boxing aficionado on this show.
Okay.
He has some great questions for you. Go ahead, Ice.
Yeah, and of course now I'm going to have to live up to all that hype then, right? Here we go. But anyway, so buddy, I'm just really impressed by when I look at your record and who you fought. I mean, now things have changed because you see guys fighting once a year, twice a year, but just the names. And I was telling somebody, even when you look back at the heavyweights, I mean, just the number of people that you fought. You look about it, think about Livingstone Bramble, you beat Howard Davis, Saul Mombi, and you mentioned Frankie Warren, Joe Manley. Then, of course, you fought Meldrick Taylor and Pernell Whitaker twice. What was that like? Because you're fighting guys that, when you look at the names on the board, you saw champions and other guys like that on that level. And as you said, you had to go to a certain place. What was that like fighting that type of talent?
Well, to be honest, it was great because as a kid growing up, You know what I mean? I wanted to be that guy fighting the best on TV. So when I started boxing, I used to watch fights every weekend on NBC, CBS, ABC. You know what I mean? Every weekend, if there was boxing on, you knew where to find me. I was home, and I felt that as a champion, you had to fight the best. You had to fight whoever was out there back then. You know, and we wasn't making the money they're making now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it seemed like it then. You know, if we made 100,000 back then, you know, that was a lot of money to us. You know what I mean? But you know, we had these opportunities coming along, so we didn't pass them up. That's why guys from my era, we always stayed in the gym. So you can hear about a guy taking a fight on a week's notice.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, they're offering a guy 50, 60 grand or 100 grand. He ain't gonna turn that down on a week's notice, especially if he's been in the gym. He's gonna take it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. One of the things that I said earlier in the show, I know we talk about boxing, and I feel like you were one of the last in the era of fighters that fought the best of the best. Am I wrong to think that now some guys are kind of, I don't want to say ducking, but waiting for pay-per-view money to fight some of the fighters instead of fighting the best contenders or in the weight class, the top 10?
It's more of a business now. It's not a sport anymore. That's the sad part. It's more of a business. Everyone's looking to see who they can make the most money off, but give them the less competition. You know what I mean? I think that these organizations today got to put these demands on these guys and be like, yo, there's no step aside money. You get that's number one contender. You got to fight them. But if you're number one contender, they say, okay, look, we're going to give you $500,000 to step aside. Then you fight the winner for $1 million or $2 million. He's not going to say no to that. He's going to step aside and let that guy get the shot. But back when I was fighting, there was no step aside money. If you had a mandatory, you had to fight him. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. That's why I say today is more of a business.
Okay. I'm going to let Black jump in here now. Please try to renew his faith, because we've seen some boxing matches where we're watching boxing matches. We all will text each other and say, well, so-and-so won. And then it goes the other way. And then we go, you know what? We're losing our faith in boxing. We're from the era of Ali. We're all in our 50s. We're from the era of Ali, and when you fought the best of the best. And so I'm gonna let Black take over from here to renew his faith, man.
Well, my question would be kind of piggyback on what he said, because we all feel a certain way when we see the business side of boxing. And we were just, we're spectators, but being that you was into it, you was in the trenches, how does that make you feel when you watch boxing and realize boxing has basically propelled itself into a business, more or less not the beautiful art that it was when you were boxing?
I'm going to tell you a little secret. I feel the same way you feel. I don't watch boxing anymore.
Oh!
Wow. Okay.
I don't watch it. Unless, like, I'll watch the Pacquiao Spence fight.
Sure.
But any of these other fights, it has to be a very interesting fight for me to watch it, which is not, you don't see too much of. But if it's a fight that I say this is going to be a war, or it's going to be a good fight, technically or whatever, I'll watch it. Other than that, I don't watch it anymore.
Wow.
Now, when I was a kid, when I started boxing when I was 12, back in 76, you knew where to find me on the weekends. I was home. I mean, my mom then, she knew I was going to be home until those fights were over. I was in the house.
Okay. Wow. Black, do you have another question, or we can go to Ice?
You go to Ice. I mean, that sums it up for me. That's what they tell you on long, Poom.
You know, that's where you can find me on Friday nights. If I'm watching the UFC, I'm watching boxing. That's where, you know, I want to be, because I grew up watching boxing. I still have that kind of old school mentality that the best should fight the best. And, you know, when guys seem like they're kind of choosing and cherry picking, it kind of bothers me, because I'm from an era, and I tell some of these younger cats, I'm from the era where, you know, you had guys fighting 2, 3, 4 times because they were the best of the best, and they had to fight each other to prove who was champion. Ice?
Yeah, notice that Buddy did say, he said he watched the best. He didn't say, I don't watch. He said, not period. He still watched. So he's still watching the best fights. So notice he didn't say, I'm not watching it at all. He said the best fight. So he knows good boxing, not going to waste his time on the other stuff. But my question to you is, you mentioned you started boxing in 1976, you said, correct?
Yeah, I was 12 years old.
What was your impression of the 76 Olympic team? That's what I want to know. Since you,
I think it's the best Olympic team we ever had.
Yeah, a lot of talent there.
I think it's the best. I mean, especially, you had Leon Spinks, the only American to really outslug a Cuban.
Mhm.
I mean, you never seen back then. The Cuban fighters back then were strong and powerful. They weren't more technical as they are now. Back then, the Cubans and the Russians, they get you out of there. Leon Spinks was the only one that went toe to toe with them and beat them, knocked them out. Then you had Michael Spinks, you had Howard Davis, you had Leo Randolph, John Tate, Sugar Ray Leonard. I mean, to me, that was the best Olympic team. I mean, the guys from '84, they argue with me, but I'm like, I don't care. That, to me, that was the best Olympic team.
Yeah, that was my favorite too. You mentioned Howard Davis. I remember watching the fight on YouTube and watching it live when you knocked out Howard Davis in the first round. What was that feeling like? Getting, you admired the 76 team, then you face a guy coming from that 76 team and you knock him out. And a lot of people, I always tell people when you see Buddy McGirt, he had a lot of he could hit hard and he had some knockout power. What did that feel like?
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I read about him in Ebony magazine after he won the Olympics. Then when I was 17 in 1981, they was paying me to spar him. They was giving like $400-500 a week. And my car only cost $100. So I'm like, shit. I was driving from Brentwood to Hempstead every day to spar him. So I was driving to Hempstead to spar him for like 2 weeks. And then he had bruised ribs. And he was supposed to fight Sean O'Grady. And the fight never took place. Now, I mean, God bless him, may he rest in peace. I have to say this, my honest opinion. I believe in my heart that he could have got up. I believe that in my heart because when I sparred him, he was so damn fast, I thought I was surrounded. He hit me so many times, man, I thought I was surrounded. The man was unbelievable. And I feel in the fight, I hit him with a hook to the body early. And I just looked in his eyes that the passion wasn't there. I could just see it. So I said, buddy, jump on him now before the passion comes back. Then you're going to be here for a long day. So I believe he could have gotten up. We'll never know. But I did know that when I hit him with a hook to the body, I saw it in his eyes. So I said, buddy, jump right on him. But I believe that he could have gotten up.
All right, you touched on something I wanted to ask you about. I saw an interview with you some time ago, and you made the comment, somebody asked you, when is it time to leave as a boxer? And the quote you gave, I wanted to get an explanation of this because I thought it was a masterful quote. You said, the boxer is the first to know, but the last to admit it. What do you mean?
Yes. We know ourselves as individuals, and we know our abilities, and when we know our reflexes are going, we know. But we're not going to admit it because, especially if you've been to that top level, your pride's not going to let you admit that it's over. You know what I mean? But we know it. I mean, and we're not going to admit it until we get into a fight or in a situation where it's like, yo, if you can't beat this guy, where you going? You know what I mean? And in between that, though, you might have a couple of good days in the gym, or you might have a good fight. And people like, and you like, see, I still got it. But deep, deep down in your mind, in the back of your mind and in your heart, you know this game is over. I just think that one big break or that one big payday. I mean, I was there. It happened to me. I knew it was over. You know what I mean? And I was the last to admit it.
Okay. When did you, I want to ask a kind of double question. When did you know you were at the top of your game where you're like, there's nobody better in the world because you were considered pound for pound one of the best in the world? And when did you know that, okay, it's time for me to kind of go into something else?
I say, but I'm going to be honest, between 87 and 94 were my best years. And 94, I fought a kid named Pat Coleman. And after I fought Pat Coleman, they came in the dressing room and they said to me, you have the rematch with Pernell. And I started crying. And my wife was like, what's wrong? That day, all the fire and the desire to be champ again left me.
Wow.
I mean, I knew it. And my wife's like, I mean, so she said, if you don't want to fight no more, don't. I mean, I says, I don't want to fight anymore. I says, but I got one problem. She said, what? I said, there's a guy called Uncle Sam that's after my ass. So I got no choice. He keeps writing me letters. So
because you had,
I
Yeah,
gotta give him his money.
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
we all do. We don't get past that. But you
I
had
mean,
two
they
battles.
sent me a letter that looked like a notebook. I left it on the table for like about a week, and my wife said, "It ain't going nowhere. You might as well open it." I was like, "Damn!" When I opened it, I was like, "Man!" But I had no choice. But then I drove down to the IRS office in Hop Park. I'll never forget. And the guy's like, "No one comes here." I said, "Sir, listen. Here's the reality. If I try to book a fight, you guys are right there going to take your money. So let's make a deal now." You know what I mean? I said, "Listen, I don't want no levies on my money." I said, "Let's make a deal right now." And they cut a deal with me.
Okay.
But the fire was still going. And then I just, after about, I'll say a year, was like, buddy, who you fooling? You fooling yourself. I mean, you just got to deal with Uncle Sam head on and face reality that the game is over and figure out something to do with your life.
Yeah, those are some battles of those two fights with Pernell Whitaker, Sweet Pea, and watching them. And folks, please follow Buddy McGirt on Instagram. You'll be entertained and inspired, and also watch his fights on YouTube if you want to see some real boxing. Isa Black, do you have a question?
Yeah, I was going to ask about the Livingstone Bramble fight, man. Because I mean, if you knew about boxing, you never knew what Livingstone was coming out of, right? What kind of bag he was coming out of.
You're right. You're 100% right. And he hit me behind the ear. I want to say around the 5th round, and it stung the shit out of me. Mm-hmm. And I looked at him and said, "You're not going to hit me with that punch again." And I kept circling to his left. I said, "He's not hitting me with that shit no more." He hit me in the Magula Oblidata, whatever the hell he want to call it. I said, "Damn, this shit hurt."
Oh, man. My question is this, buddy. What motivates you now? I heard Puma earlier to the things that you're doing, but what's your motivation now where you are?
It's funny. My motivation now is to try to make as many world champions as I can, and to educate these young boys and women, young men and women, I should say, on how in this business, this is the only sport that I know of that doesn't have no pension, no retirement fund, nothing. Mm. So whatever you leave with when you retire, that's all you got. Mm-hmm. And no one is going to come knocking on your door asking you to do anything from unless your name is Sugar Ray Leonard. Mm-hmm. Guys like that, of that nature. But there's thousands and thousands of fighters out there that, young kids. I try to educate them. I'm like, "Yo, man, I said, trust me, I've been there. You know what I mean? Don't go out here and get all this and get all that. Be smart. Put that money away, because I said, let me tell you something. When the day comes you can't fight anymore, you're gonna look at your bank account. It's gonna be either good or bad, but that's all you got to live off. I said, and if it's bad, ain't nobody gonna be around to have your back or help you. Friends, managers, relatives, everybody's gone. I mean, they rode the bandwagon for as long as they can. So they're getting off at the next stop and jumping on another bus. And I try to educate these guys, because let me tell you, it's not if you've been on that top level and then you wake up one day and it's all gone. It's not an easy pill to swallow. You know what I mean? Then now you have nothing left. Now you got a family to feed. You've boxed all your life, so it's okay. What the hell am I going to do with my life now? And the bill collectors don't give a shit. They're like, we don't care if you was champ or not. We want our money. No you know what I mean? Yeah. So so I try to tell these guys, yo, put that money away and act like it don't exist. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It took me till after my career as a fighter and come back as a trainer to realize that. You know what I mean? That, yo, put that money away, act like it don't exist. And that's what I do, man, because as a fighter, you know what I mean, when I was done, I was like, damn, where's everybody at? And where all the money go? Mm-hmm. Wow. You know what I mean? And I was like, damn, man, I get these young kids, man, not me. I had a kid, I was training him. I said, he got a decent payday. I said, homeboy, listen, you got a car. You only can drive one at a time. I said, put that money away. Nah, buddy, nah. He went out and bought 2 cars, bought his exotic pets. Then 2 or 3 fights got canceled. He in the gym sweating. I'm like, what's the matter? Oh man, buddy, you know, I was depending on that money. I said, oh, you want, I tried to tell you. I said, now, I said, you paid $2 for the dog. See if you can get $1 for him. You're lucky. And he looked at me. He's like, yo, I should listen. I said, man, I'm trying to tell you guys, man. You know what I mean? This business here, they're ruthless, man. Yeah. They're ruthless. You know, the manager's getting 30%, trainer gets 10%, cut man gets 3%. Then you got Uncle Sam. What are you left with?
Yeah, real talk.
Yeah, I'm saying you left with nothing. So I try to educate these guys, man. They, oh, buddy, you know what you're talking about. That shit ain't gonna happen to me. Like, okay.
Yeah, real talk.
I said the same thing. I said the same thing. You know what I mean? But you get a young kid that never had no money. And I'm gonna give you an example. My first big payday was in 1986. They gave me 60 grand. When they gave me the 60 grand, I paid everybody off. Then they said, okay, you got to send Uncle Sam 10. I said, shit, not me. I said, Uncle Sam will get that the next fight. He ain't getting it this fight. That ain't happening. And I put something on it, but I'm not going to send him no $10,000. Y'all crazy. And then between 1986 and 1995, that shit added up over the years. Shit, I almost had they wanted $500,000. Woo. That's what I said. So, you know, I was able to get it all straightened out. But I'm gonna be frank with y'all. I haven't had a bank account since 1994. I'm scared to open anything in my name.
I know that's right.
You know what I mean? Because they don't go nowhere, man.
No.
They right there, man, and they watch every move you make. And the one guy, I never forget his name. His name was Jack Smiloff. He goes, buddy, I'm a boxing fan. I said, figures you have to be a damn boxing fan. But he worked with me. I will say that though. He did work with me. You know what I mean? Until I got everything situated. You know, he did work with me. I will say that for him. And he could have been an ass and gave me a hard time and took my car, my home. But he says, James, I'll work with you. Just be honest with me. Mm-hmm. So, and you know, and he worked with me, thank God, you know. But I try to tell these young guys, man, you know, they don't want to listen.
Yeah.
Like, okay. I mean, you can't be making $1 million and living like you got $3 million.
Yeah.
So them bills add up, man. You know what I mean? So, but you know, I mean, listen, I mean, when you get young brothers and sisters who've never had that kind of money, mm-hmm. and you get it, and you say you got to give half to this one, they're like, man, you crazy.
Yeah. We're going to talk about all the Hall of Fames that you're a part of: the Suffolk Sports Hall of Fame, the New Jersey Boxing Hall of Fame, International Hall of Fame. But there was another award that you got from the Boxing Writers Association of America, Trainer of the Year in 2002. Because I want to go into more of your training and the folks you have in your stable. How did that feel, that award, after stepping away from boxing, and then the writers identifying you as the Trainer of the Year?
I mean, to me, it was like a great accomplishment. You know what I mean? But because training, I've always wanted to be a trainer. I started boxing on January 17th. January 18th, I woke up and said, I want to be a trainer. You know, I've always loved outsmarting another person. So I thought teaching someone to outsmart the next person would be even better. So, I mean, so when I got that award, you know, to me, it was like winning the world championship. You know what I mean? Because it was something that people told me I couldn't do. You know what I mean? Like when I was going to fight for my first world title, a man came to my house. I'll never forget. He asked me for my autograph. And he goes, buddy, I want you to know you're not going to be the first world champion from Long Island. And he left. I said to myself, son of a bitch, you just asked me for an autograph. Now you tell me you ain't going to be the first world champion. He told me that before, I wouldn't have let you in my house. But he said that, man, and I just looked at this man as he walked away, and I'm like, this man got a lot of nerve, because Eddie Davis, a fighter out of Hempstead, was fighting Donnie Lalonde like that week. Yeah. And he said Eddie Davis was going to beat him, but Donnie Lalonde knocked him out. So when I became champ, I saw him in the store. I just looked at him and winked and kept walking. I didn't say 2 words to him.
Wow.
He put his head down. I winked. He put his head down. I just kept walking.
Now, are you more of a teacher or a trainer? Yeah.
I love to teach.
Okay.
I love to teach, and you know, in the process of training, but I love to teach because I want guys to understand. You know, I try to make these guys understand that you could be in the ring and the guy might do something different. You can't call timeout and say, "Yo, buddy, what do I do next?" So my goal and my job is to prepare you for any and everything and be able to make those adjustments in there.
Right.
I mean, don't look at me for help. I can't help you till the bell rings. Until then, you're gonna have to handle your business.
For sure.
I mean, and like I have a kid that, you know, I'm training, and a young kid, and he's winning, and then he's getting his little head a little big, and I'm like, look, man, I said, you're getting away from what got you here. You're listening to the wrong people. I said, you got to be smart. Nah, buddy, I got this. I said, okay. He gets beat. Yo, buddy, what'd I do wrong? I said, you tell me what you think you did wrong. He said, I didn't listen. I said, I rest my case. And then why ask me? I mean, why ask me? But the funny thing about teaching is you have different fighters. Everyone's different. So you got to take them and say, okay, how am I going to make his style effective? You know, I mean, I'm gonna give it. I was just in England with a heavyweight named Derek Chisora.
Okay. Yeah.
So I had never seen him fight. I had heard all the stuff about him. I heard he was rough and tough. And when I seen him spar the first time, I said to myself, what the hell kind of style this guy has? So it took me a week. You know, every day I was going back, you know, in my mind, back and forth. You know what I mean? Then I go into the gym the next day. I said, let's try this. Let's try that. He goes, buddy, what are you doing? I said, just let me, trust me on this. Let's try this. Let's try that. So I had to see what he was good at, what he wasn't good at. And boom, after a week, bam, I got it. You know what I mean? And he loved it. And it worked for him. It fit in with his style. And bam, he went on. And, you know, he beat the hell out of Joseph Parker, got robbed. Now they're having a rematch.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, even the fighter came to the corner and said, yo, I didn't win that fight. Him and his trainer said, we didn't win this fight. But everyone's like, buddy, how did you say, man, you know, when I leave the gym and come home, I'm still thinking about what I got to do with these guys the next day to make them a better fighter. I mean, that's my job because, you know, I love it. And when if they do just one move and it works, I'm happy.
Okay. What are some of the fighters out of your camp that we need to be looking for in the near future?
I got a kid, Adam Lopez. I got a kid, Carlos Balderas, who's fighting. Carlos is fighting August 14th on ESPN Plus, I believe. He's an Olympian. And I have a middleweight named Johnny Beck. I can't pronounce his last name. He's from Kazakhstan. He just fought about a month ago on the Lomachenko card. He knocked out former champ Rob Brandt. Okay. Now, my guy only has 11 fights, but he's ready for any 160-pound champ out there.
Wow.
He's had over 300 amateur fights.
Wow.
And he can fight. He is the real deal.
You said 300?
300 amateur fights.
Shit, that's like
he's only 27 years old. He's been fighting 10-round fights since his third fight.
Wow, that's like Lomachenko. All those fights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have the same manager. They're the same manager.
Okay.
All right. Before we go to the Spence Pacquiao fight, Ice or Black, do you have any more questions?
I'm all set, Ross.
I just have one more. Now that you're in the training mode, what is it like for you? How invigorating it is to watch somebody that's kind of raw that you see, right? And then you say to yourself as you're doing your calculations and looking at them and going, man, I can make that kid special. I can help develop him. What is that like for you?
You get the chills every now and then. You know, I got this kid, Balderas. This kid, I'm telling you, he doesn't know how good he is. Like he knows, but he don't know. You know what I mean? And once I get him to settle down and fight like a 10-round fighter, not like an amateur, nobody's gonna beat this kid. He has one loss. You know what I mean? Before I got him, he said he went in a fight he shouldn't have went in. But sometimes you gotta fall off the horse a few times to understand that, hey, this shit is real.
Mhm.
And they brought him to me, and we started. I said, look, I could be your friend, or whatever the case may be, but understand this: I don't take no shit in the gym. You know what I mean? You're not coming to me to let you do what you want to do. If that's the case, you don't need me. You know what I mean? So, he listens. And every now and then, like, he try to hand me an excuse. I just look at him. When he starts the sentence, I finish it for him.
Mm.
He's like, how you know I was going to say that, coach? I said, yo, I was your age at one time. You know what I mean? I thought I knew everything at one time, but I had an old smart trainer. I start to say something, he'll finish it. And then he'll say, now get your ass back on the bag. And one day I went to I used to travel from Brentwood, Long Island to Jersey City every day. By train. It should take me 2.5 hours to get to the gym. You know what I mean? So one day I went to the gym. I said, Dominic, I got a stomach ache. He looked at me. He said, you traveled 2.5 hours to tell me you have a stomach ache? He said, go get dressed and let's go. He wasn't trying to hear that bullshit. You know what I mean? I wanted to call him. I said, but if I call him, I ask to speak to my mom. My mom would be like, ain't nothing wrong with this boy. So I got on the train. It used to take me 2.5 hours, but now if the trains were messed up, it'd take me 3 hours. You know what I mean? So 3 hours there, train, 3 hours back.
Hey.
My whole day. So I got there and I said, Dom, I don't feel good. I got a stomach ache. Like I said, man, if your guts ain't out, go get dressed. Then he made me spar. I was like, damn.
Wow.
Yeah, man, he was older, tiny guy, man. He didn't want to hear nothing. So, a lot of these guys tell me, oh, buddy, you're so old school, you're so this, you're so that. I'm like, listen, man, at the end of the day, the old school works. The kid I told you about that Fort, a kid Adam Lopez. He went, got some nutritionist or somebody, and oh, buddy, man, he's got me. I said, listen, man, check it out. What you're telling me don't make any sense. What this man's got you doing don't make any sense. Long story short, the night before the weigh-in, he's 10 pounds overweight.
Mm.
I said, now, who's the fool now, me or the guy who went to college?
Wow.
I said, I'm telling you, man, that what this man has you doing is not going to work for you. You can't look at somebody and say, okay, this is what you got to do. No, this is what you got to eat. He goes, well, he took blood. I said, don't matter. I said, I'm with you every day. I'm watching you every day in the gym. I know when there's something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But long story short, he fired the guy. So now he listens. So,
So you back.
All right.
I got to tell you, hey, he looks just like a guy I fought named Frank Montgomery.
You don't have flashbacks, do you? Like you
Nah,
want to
I'm gonna tell you guys a funny story, man. This is no lie. Now, Frank Montgomery called me about a year ago. He goes, buddy, I owe you an apology. I said, what do you owe me an apology for? He says, I told everybody I got robbed in the fight with you. So I said, okay. He goes, then I realized I got knocked out.
Oh,
I said, it took you 30 years to figure that shit out? He said, yeah. We fought in 1991. He told me that. He says, buddy, all these years I thought I got robbed. Then I realized I got stopped in the 9th round. I was like, wow.
Wow. Yeah. Whoa. That was a knockout punch right there.
30 years. I'm like, it took you 30 years to figure that shit out. He's like, yeah. I said, don't tell nobody that, man.
All right. I want to get to the Errol Spence Pacquiao fight and your thoughts with it. I watched Errol Spence early in his career, and I was telling people, this is the guy right here. Before a lot of people knew about him. Strong, fast, just seems like a boxing technician in there. What's your thoughts on the Errol Spence? And of course, Pacquiao is kind of this is a masterclass of boxing. What are your thoughts about this upcoming fight?
That fight I'm going to watch. It's going to be very interesting. The youth against the veteran.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the youth can't get beside himself. He can't lose focus, and he can't feel like I'm the bigger man, I can beat him. He's got to be the youth, has to be as smart as he's ever been in any other fight. because Manny got some tricks up his sleeve. And when you fight those veterans like that, man, you know, you gotta be careful. I mean, ask Keith Thurman, you know.
Yeah.
He thought he was gonna go in there and run over him.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Keith's a big welterweight, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's gonna be an interesting fight. You know what I mean? I'm gonna lean more towards Spence, but it's gonna be interesting. But he's gotta have this tunnel vision for 15 rounds, even though it's a 12-round fight. Because Manny's gonna take him there.
Yeah, it's a big time fight. Hear that, Black? He's gonna watch this fight. You should be watching it too.
I got a question for you guys.
Sure.
Where was Errol Spence born?
I want to say New York.
Long Island, Brentwood, baby.
Wow.
Yeah.
His parents are from Brentwood.
Okay.
Now, after he was born, he said he was like 1 or 2 and they moved to Texas.
Right.
But his mother comes from a fighting family, boy. They used to fight in the neighborhood. There was a whole lot of them, man. It was like 9,000 of them, man.
So he got it honest.
He got it honest for sure.
Questions, Ice, Black?
I'm good, boss.
Yeah.
I'm good.
I want to know what you think about this. And I mean, maybe you're outside of it, but you talk about that business. But with Pacquiao fighting Spence now, it's like Terrence Crawford is just out there. I mean,
well, you know, man, I think that right now, I wish Crawford and Spence would have fought. But when you start coming, there was a time, man, in my day and before my time.
mm-hmm.
You know, these guys, I want 60-40, 70-30. You know what they used to do in my day? They call up your manager and say, hey, listen, we got to fight in 2 weeks. We're paying $200,000. Do you want it or not? Mm-hmm. If you didn't answer then, they call somebody else. Hey, we got to fight in 2 weeks. 150,000. They already took 50,000 off the top. Mm-hmm. Do you want it? Yes or no? Now they said the fight. I want 70. No, okay. 60-40. No. They should be like, look, here's what it is. You guys want it? You don't? Bam. No. We'll go to somebody else. Just that simple. And that's what happened. They went to Pacquiao. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, you get these. If Crawford and Spence fights, that's a big gate, man.
Yeah.
That's a big gate. I mean, they should get a set price, and that's it. Because no matter what, you know, I want a piece of the pay-per-view. Okay, yeah. The promoters are still gonna rob you anyway. Right. Now, I mean, they're gonna give you some numbers, but they're gonna give you all the numbers. Right. So, you know, if you can make $10 million, okay. So you can take 10 million and live forever. Yeah. You know what I mean? But, you know, so I think that's what's hurting the game. I think that the promoters now got to put their foot down in TV and say, look, you guys want to fight? Yes. Here's what's on the table. You don't want it? All right, boom. We're going to the next one. And that's what they did. Pacquiao got the fight.
What do you think about the possibility of a Crawford Sean Porter fight?
I think that fight could happen if the two promoters can make the deal. If Al Heyman and Bob Arum can make the deal, I think that'd be a very interesting fight for boxing. I never thought of that. That would be a very good fight for boxing.
Yeah, I think so.
That'd be a very good fight. That's a fight I'll watch.
See?
Yeah,
Black Door, yeah.
I'm writing these down. I'm writing them down. I'm writing them down.
That's a fight I watch. Porter Crawford, that's a fight I watch.
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be an interesting fight, man. You should be a matchmaker.
He's our guy when it comes to boxing.
That would be an interesting fight, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That would be interesting.
Out of all the Hall of Fames, which are you most proud of?
All of them.
All of them? Good answer.
All of them. But, you know, the International Boxing Hall of Fame is like, to me, it's like in a class by itself. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I mean, that's something everyone strives for. I mean, at first, you know, believe it or not, when I first started boxing, I never really thought about being in the, you know, never crossed my mind. And then in 1993, I went up to the Hall of Fame. I was a guest up there. And when I got up there, man, I got to hang with all the old champions. I fought an exhibition with Gene Fullmer, you know, who fought Ray Robinson.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and I spent time and I picked every one of those old fighters' brains. Mm-hmm. I mean, some guys, like Archie Moore, we sat one day at a benefit. Wow. We sat for an hour. I just picked his brain for an hour. Just asking questions. And everybody's like, you know, buddy, come on. My wife said, leave him alone. He ain't going nowhere. My wife says, he's going to sit and pick these guys' brains. Eddie Futch, but two of my three men that I really owe a lot to in my training career. God bless all three of them. Ray Arcel, Eddie Futch, Georgie Benton.
Wow.
I used to sit with these guys, man, and talk with them for hours. I mean, now I have 6 losses. 4 of my losses are to Georgie Benton trained fighters.
Mm.
So when I fought Pernell the first time at the press conference, I said, Pernell, I'm not worrying about you. I said, I'm worrying about Georgie. I know I can beat you, but Georgie, that's what I'm worrying about. Then Lil Duva got mad. Well, I said, Lil, you ain't no damn trainer. Everybody knows, James, you're a cheerleader.
Wow.
We know who the master is, and that's Georgie. And after the first fight, Georgie said, buddy, you almost ruined my masterpiece. He called Pernell his masterpiece.
Mm.
He said, you almost ruined my masterpiece. Now, the second fight, he beat the hell out of me, so. That's another fight I thought I was surrounded in.
Well, Champ, I'm going to give you the floor right now. And anything you want to say, where people can find you, anything you want to leave on a parting shot?
And, you know, my Instagram is Buddy McGirt Boxing. And just I want to thank everybody for the love and support, man, you know, and say God bless to everybody.
Okay. All right. If you haven't been following this man on Instagram, please follow him on Instagram for all the inspirational quotes. He's on a daily basis out there doing your road work out there. I thought you were getting ready for an exhibition.
Nah, man.
There's a lot of
Man,
exhibition money out here.
I don't even fight sleep. When I get sleepy, I go straight to sleep, man. I ain't fighting nobody. Them punches hurt. Exhibition or not, them punches hurt, man.
Hey, can I make a match for you real quick, James Tony?
Man, what? Come on, man. Listen, James, you know, James, I love James. But he's trying to get a fight. And I'm like, yo, James, are you crazy?
Yeah.
I could beat these motherfuckers. James. He had our shot. Let it go.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many. You see now, De La Hoya, all the guys. What happens, man, these guys miss that spotlight.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying they missed that. Listen, man, I can find another way to get in the spotlight. I mean, I ain't getting hit no more. Them punches hurt, bro. God bless me. I can talk. You know what I mean? I still got my senses. I ain't taking no chances, man. I mean, the hell with that.
Yeah.
I mean, I run across some guys that I fought and they were fighting during my era, and I listened to them talk. I go say my prayers, man. I'm like, yo, thank you, God.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So if you still have it, what the hell you want to get in there for? And for what? I just don't get it, man. I don't get it. You know, I had a guy called me 2 weeks ago and says, but I'm putting together this celebrity thing. Are you down? I said, down for what? What do you want me to do? Sell tickets? Want me to sell tickets? No, man, we get somebody. I said, man, look, I'm not fighting nobody, bro. I don't even argue with my granddaughter, man. The hell with the confrontation, man. I said, look, man, I'm done fighting, bro. That's it, man. I enjoy doing what I'm doing, and that's it. I'm not fighting. I don't spar. People say, do you hit the bag? No, I don't hit the bag. I don't do none of that shit, man. Bag might hit me back, and that shit hurt. You know, I'm 57, man. My body said, okay, buddy, look, we're going to let you run, but that's it. I hit the speed bag one day. I felt good. I hit the speed bag. Shit, halfway through, my shoulders were like, yo, man, what's wrong with you? I showed them, what the hell you doing? So that's it for me, man. So, but hey, look, I wish them all well, and I just hope nobody gets hurt, man. You know what I mean? Because I spoke to Roy. I said, Roy, how strong is Mike? He said, buddy, unbelievable.
Wow.
He goes, and he was just playing with me. He goes, the rest of these guys, they're taking this shit serious. I'm like, I mean, he says, but he goes, buddy, man, he said, if Tyson wanted to hurt me, could have hurt me anytime.
Mm. Wow.
You know what I mean? I said, he can look at you and hurt you. Shit. All right, fellas, I'm going to let y'all go, man.
Thanks, man, for hanging out with us, man.
Good stuff.
Anytime you want to come back, this is your platform, man. Come back.
All right, thank you.
All right.
All right. Have a good one, fellas. All right.
Appreciate you, man. Thanks.